day that my daddy died, yeah. I never got a chance to see him. Never heard nothing but bad things about him. Mama, I'm depending on you to tell me the truth. Mama just hung her head and said, son, Papa was a rolling stone, my son now. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left me was alone. Hey, hey, hey. Papa was a rolling stone. Yeah. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left me was alone. Well, hey, hey. Hey, Mama, is it true what they say that Papa never worked a day in his life?
And Mama, some bad talk going around town saying that Papa had 3 outside children and another wife. And that ain't right.
Heard some talk about Papa doing some storefront preaching, talking about saving souls and all the time legion. Dealing in dirt, stealing in the name of the Lord. Mama hung her head and said, Papa was a rolling stone, my son. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone. Now listen to me. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone. Now. Hey Mama, I heard Papa call himself a jack of all trades. Tell me if that would send my Papa to an early grave. Folks say Papa would beg, borrow, and steal to pay his bills. Hey Mama, folks say Papa was never much on thinking. Spent most of his time chasing women and drinking. Mama, I'm depending on you to tell me the truth. Mama just looked up with a tear in her eye and said, son, Papa was a rolling stone. Well. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone. I say,
2024. Let's go!
Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose.
Tonight, we're calling on people from across our great country who are fired up for Vice President Kamala Harris. After an electrifying Democratic National Convention, Kamala Harris raised record-breaking campaign donations, became a viral sensation, and then the world watched her step into her power and dominate that debate.
You're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
In an unprecedented surge, grassroots coalitions have organized in lightning speed, creating a tidal wave of support.
Black women, were you in the meeting last night?
It all started the night Kamala Harris announced her candidacy. The advocacy group Win with Black Women, a collective of thousands of black women leaders from around the country, founded by Joteka Edie, hosted a Zoom call to support the campaign. Within hours, they raised $1.6 million and had so many people on the line, they almost broke Zoom, y'all.
I was on Zoom with 44,000 other black women who were all focused on getting this woman to the White House.
Win with Black Women was the original spark that inspired over 100 other groups to organize their own Zooms for Kamala, like Win with Black Men, White Women Answer the Call, White Dudes for Harris, Jewish Women for Kamala.
Be the badass Jewesses that I know you all are.
Comics for Kamala.
She is the president America needs.
Swifties for Kamala.
First of all, I am a Swiftie.
Even cat ladies for Kamala.
Come on, cat ladies.
Tonight, for the first time, we are uniting all the groups together in one place with a single purpose: elect Kamala Harris, President of the United States.
Thank you. God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Joining us. Thanks for joining us. Everybody on screen, thank you. Thanks for joining us for this very special event, Unite for America! And that's exactly what we're doing live tonight, uniting from Farmington Hills in Oakland County, Michigan. We have 400 people in our audience and thousands more. Hello, all of you on screen. Hello, everybody on screen. Thousands more joining us on screen. And I am here because I care deeply about the future of our country. And I know that all of you do too. You care about the future of our country. And we just saw on this tape this grassroots, people-powered movement behind Kamala Harris has unleashed a unifying force unlike anything we've seen in politics in a very long time. And I know lots of people are feeling it because it actually is hope and joy rising. And there's been a, can you feel it? You can feel it, you can feel it, you can feel it. We can feel it, we can feel it, you can feel it, you can feel it. There's been so much talk. There's been so much talk about that word joy, and I think it's such a good thing because it means that there is a real feeling of optimism and hope, making that comeback, as Michelle Obama said, for this new day that's no longer on the horizon. The new day is actually here. We're in it. We're living it. So let me tell you how this event began. I was on the phone with Joteka Edie, founder of Win with Black Women. We're going to be talking to her a little later on. And we were talking about all the groups inspired by Win with Black Women who had 47,000 women on one call 3 hours after Kamala Harris announced that she was going to be running. 3 hours afterwards, 47,000 women were on the phone. And Joteka and I were talking, wouldn't it be great if we brought all the groups together? Because that phone call inspired all the other groups. And so we said, wouldn't it be great if we brought all the groups together at one time? And that's why we're here. So we have the Cat Ladies for Kamala here. Rural Americans for Harris. Caregivers for Kamala. Train lovers for Harris Waltz. I didn't know there were train lovers. Train lovers, chefs for Kamala, love that group. Republicans for Harris, love that group even more. We've got Swifties, where are you? Swifties for Kamala! And in addition to thousands of you all who I am just meeting here tonight on screen, I see some faces I recognize. There's Bryan Cranston. Hey, Bryan.
Hey. Hello, hello, hello.
Where are you? Bryan Cranston! I hear Chris Rock is in the house. Chris, where are you? Chris Rock is in the house. Ben Stiller, Jennifer Lopez, Tracy Ellis Ross. Jennifer Lopez! Where are you, Jennifer? Yes! Tracy Ellis Ross, where are you? Tracy Ellis, where are you on the screen? Tracy Ellis. Julia Roberts, where are you? And Miss Meryl Streep is in the house. So glad to have all of you familiar faces and those of you who are not yet familiar to all of us. Okay, Bryan, so happy to have you here tonight. Bryan Cranston, what do you want to say? Why did you want to join us here tonight?
I'm just smiling from ear to ear, Oprah. I have never felt this much joy and optimism in a campaign in a long time. So I'm just so appreciative of Kamala to be able to bring back that sense of optimism and to squash the cynicism and the vitriol and the rancor that just seems to be floating all around Washington. And I hope that we're going to ride this wave into Washington. I'm here to support. I can't be happier than this candidate. I think she's going to be a terrific president.
Thank you, Bryan Cranston. So, thanks, Bryan. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from London. Chris Rock, so it's the middle of the night there. You're the one who told me, remember, Chris and I ran into each other this summer, and Chris, no matter where you meet him, he's funny. He goes, there's going to be weeping in the streets. Are we ready for the weeping in the streets? When Kamala Harris becomes president of the United States of America. Weeping in the streets. What do you want to say, sir?
I've always been a fan of Kamala, even back when she was running for, I remember writing her a check when she was like the district attorney for something. Maybe it was to get out of a parking ticket or something. But I've been writing her checks for a long time. And I just want to bring my daughters to the White House to meet this Black woman president.
That's a reason. That's a reason.
That's the reason. I think she would make a great president. And I'm ready to turn the page, man.
Yeah.
All the hate, the negativity, it's got to stop.
Yeah, we're so sick of the negativity. Thank you so much, Chris, for being up this early in the morning in London. Thank you. Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller, I heard you were on the Comics for Kamala, and so I want to know where all the comics Kamala?
They were, and I didn't outdo anyone. I was probably the least fun of all the comics. But it was really, I mean, it was great though, because everybody was so energized, and I mean, I got to go to the convention and see her speech, which was just incredible, and feeling that energy, feeling kind of going from a stop Trump mode into a go Kamala mode. The people starting to, really hear what she's about. And I have a 22-year-old daughter, 19-year-old son who's going to be voting in his first election. My daughter's, her reproductive rights are incredibly important. Standing up for.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. And I think
standing up for,
Yeah, I think what Chris said, we're ready to turn the page. Thank you, Ben Stiller. So we are all together, united for one cause, and that is to get out the vote for Kamala Harris. Joteka Edie is here, and you describe Win with Black Women as a collective love letter to ourselves. I know you all been doing this a long time. I was on a lot of calls with y'all in 2020, but we ain't never seen nothing like this before, right? Stand up, tell us, what is happening? Explain the power of what happened 3 hours after Kamala, we knew that she was going to step into this candidacy.
First of all, Oprah, this is amazing to just be united. And that night, Black women everywhere, we knew one thing. We wanted to gather in our joy, and we knew that we needed to get to work. And on that night, Black women, the 44,000 on that Zoom, and the additional 50,000 Black women and our friends that joined to watch that Zoom, what we knew was that it was a moment in our country to show what Black women have always done. That love letter that I often speak of, that love letter is a letter that started years before any of us in this room, you, myself, were even born. And it started by Black women years ago who knew this moment would be here, but they worked, and they knew they wouldn't see it, but one day we would. And I just think that it is an honor for all of us to be able to usher in this moment, knowing that those who watered this mighty field are now allowing us to eat of the fruit of the trees that is there.
Thank you so much. And so, as I said, that call from Win with Black Women is what inspired all the other groups. So White Dudes for Harris raised a bunch of money. Lead organizer Ross Morales Roquetto is here, right? Ross? And I hear that my producer told me you've been working in politics a long time, and that really for more than 20 years, and that you said you hadn't seen anything like this.
I haven't seen anything like this since 2008, when President Obama was elected. And when he got elected, it was about a newness and a hope. This time, it's about an exuberance and an excitement that you only get from hard-fought wins and hard-fought losses and knowing what's at stake. And that's why we're not going back.
That's why we're not going back. We're not going back. Thank you, Mr. White Dude. Thank you so much. Khalil Thompson is the founder of Win with Black Men. Khalil, what do you want Black men to know about this election?
Well, thank you, Oprah and Ms. Winfrey, for allowing us to be here and share in this amazing moment tonight. Brothers, men who are watching this and enjoying this moment, you have a choice. I choose experience and fortitude over something else. I come from a litany of amazing Black women, Kathy, Jahan, Megan Janelle, and I have an amazing 7-year-old CEO who runs my life. Hopefully she at home finished her homework. But we have a chance to do a performance review and give a promotion to the best qualified candidate to be president of the United States.
Okay, so let me just ask you this. Sorry. On the way here, when I was coming through the airport, Black man stopped me and he said, I guess he knew I was coming here for something like this. And he goes, well, I'm just tell you, I'm voting for Trump. And I'm voting for Trump because he gave me that check. And so I've heard that from several people that I got the check, he gave us the check, and so therefore, forget about everything else. It's about the checks.
Well, what he doesn't know is that Congress actually paid for the check and the American people paid for it. 45 just signed it, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, there's a...
So what do you want to say to that kind of thinking? Because a lot of people feel that way.
We're not a monolith. You can have your viewpoint and views for where you believe, but I think choosing, if I have the choice to go into someone to make the best decision for my family, I don't want someone who has 34 convictions. I don't want someone who is going to choose hate over choosing the best possible way to unite us as a country. And so I see Vice President Harris as being the best person to do that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Shannon Watts. Shannon Watts is the organizer of White Women Answer the Call. Shannon, what do you want to say? What do you want to say specifically to white women in Oakland County, white women throughout the United States about this moment in answering the call?
Even if you are a white woman who is voting for Kamala Harris, that's not enough. You have to get off the sidelines and do the work like Black women and Black men have been doing for decades and follow the lead of people like Jotega Edie, whose lead we followed on our call. We have to be waking up every day and phone banking and knocking doors and sending texts, but most important, we have to be persuading the white women in our lives. We may be part of the 47%, but we know the 53%. They're our mothers and our sisters and our friends, and we have to tell them to vote not just in their own self-interests, but in all women's best interests.
Right, and so that's what tonight is all about. Tonight is all about leaving this moment here and figuring out what it is you can do in your own home, in your own community, in your own district to spread the word and spread the vote. So Bianca Shaw is the youth director for South Asians for Harris. What are you hearing from the South Asian community?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. I want to start off and say, when I answered that call that I would be here, I said, me? Are you sure? Because I cannot believe it, but thank you so much. South Asians for Harris, we are an official, AANHPI campaign affiliate with the group, and I just want to say that the aunties, the uncles, the students, we're coming out in numbers we've never seen before, out to mobilize for Kamala Devi Harris in this campaign, because not only does she represent, our South Asian heritage, our love for Italy, but she also represents the values that, our parents, our grandparents immigrated to this country to keep and maintain. And she does that so well, and we need to maintain that.
Thank you. It's about the values. I'm with you. Thank you. Okay, before the Vice President joins us, I want to bring out a local Michigander. I love saying Michigander around here. She's known as Big Gretch. Please welcome Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Big Gretch. Fresh in the new dress. Yeah, that's Big Gretch. Throw the buck on her face, that's Big Gretch. We ain't even about to stretch.
Gretchen Whitmer. We're so happy to be in your state.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Yes, and we want everybody who can vote, obviously, to vote, but it's very important for women. So what do you want to say to women?
Well, this is going to be a big, close race. Michigan is always tight. We know we're feeling good, but we got to translate that feeling into action. We deserve a leader who is strong and kind. It's not mutually exclusive. And that's why I think this moment is so important for all of us today, but for our kids and future generations too. There's so much at stake here, from our individual reproductive freedom to the ability to get ahead and make a good living and take care of your family. That's all on the line this election.
Yes, strong and kind.
Yes.
Isn't that a notion? And what can Michigan do to help get Kamala Harris to the White House?
I think we've got to do the hard work. In 2016, we were short 11,000 votes. That's 2 votes per precinct, which tells you that a conversation you have with a loved one or a neighbor or a fellow parishioner, whomever in your life you can talk to, we've got to do it. Do something, as Michelle Obama said at the convention.
Well, this is what we're doing tonight. We're doing something. Thank you for allowing us in your state. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a seat there. Right there. I want to bring in right now the chair of the Harris-Walz campaign, Jen O'Malley Dillon. Jen, hello. Hi. Have you seen anything like this? Isn't this great fun?
It's amazing.
Tell us what needs to happen from this day until November 5th?
So first of all, this campaign is so inspired by the grassroots organizations that have come together like this, and it is making us stronger as a campaign to work together. We wouldn't be here without them today. We have 47 days left, and you all know the stakes or you wouldn't be here. And while we have this extraordinary growing enthusiasm that the Vice President and Governor Walz are seeing everywhere, we are still in a margin of error race. It's tied. It's tied right here in Michigan. It's tied in all the battleground states. So it's going to take all of us to build a pathway, many pathways to 270 electoral votes. That's what we're focused on in the campaign. In every state, we have to register more people. We have to mobilize our voters to turn out to vote. And then we have got to go persuade those people that still don't know enough about the Vice President and her vision for the future. And if we do that together, all of us, we're going to get over the top, but it's really going to take all of us. And to make sure that you're working in your own lives, have those hard conversations in big and small ways. We're going to inch our way over the finish line because we're going to be able to do it together.
And don't you need money?
Well, we do. We do. And these groups need money too. All of us do, because the work is happening on the ground and in the communities. So if you want to help in any way at all in the campaign, go to go.kamalaharris.com. But if you want to help and not be formally engaged with us and join any of these groups here, that's what we need too. It's going to take all of us.
Yes, and I think that everybody on the screens, everybody in this room, everybody who's listening, you become your own grassroots organization when we leave this moment that we're sharing here tonight, and you do what you can in your community. It's not enough just to join us all. We love having you here, but the rah-rah moment is going to end, and then we need to get to work. We need to get busy. Okay, thank you, Jim. I have to just say this, that the social media team for the Harris campaign has been killing it. They have been killing it. I think that team helped spark this people-led movement. And here's a short look at the rallying cry across social media.
I'm watching the Kamala Harris rally right now, and wow, I'm like crying.
So Tony and I just got done knocking 48 doors in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Majority, if not all, independent Republican libertarian doors.
Republicans for Harris is growing explosively too. We just need to get back to a place in this country where we can have disagreements and have them still be respectful.
I'm here with Richard, a 77-year-old registered Republican who's going to be voting for Kamala Harris.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Obviously, a narcissist just doesn't stand for anything that I stand for.
What issues are most important to you personally?
First of all, not electing a felon to the White House.
I'm voting Harris Walz and a blue ticket all the way.
In 2020, only 50% of young eligible voters actually showed up, and that was record-breaking. So if you really want to be brat, you better be showing up in droves in November.
We are with her. And she's with us.
I voted for Nikki Haley in the primary. I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. That's the right choice for America in 2024.
Let me tell you, it is about character, and it's about decency and respect, and all the things that we were raised to believe about what it means to be an American citizen and pursue the American dream. And if that is important to you, I hope, whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or somewhere in the middle, you will choose to vote your values, because values are on the line in this election. And in no other country on this earth could her story unfold the way it has. From a child of immigrants to big sister to McDonald's worker, there is hope for y'all. District attorney, a wife, and mamala, to senator, to vice president. Please welcome Kamala Harris. So welcome to...
Oprah!
Hello! Madam Vice President. Hello. Welcome to Michigan.
It's so good to be back. And Governor, thank you for everything you are and everything you do for this state. Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Can you see this? We have 1,000 screens here representing people from all over the country.
Hi, everyone.
Can you feel? Can you feel? Can you feel it? Can you feel the joy rising in here?
I can, and I have to tell you, there's so much that I love about our campaign because it really is about the people. And I look around at these screens, Oprah, I look at who's in the room, and this is America.
This is
America. You know, I was saying with a group of friends earlier, I think in this moment where we've dealt with so much that I think is quite exhausting around powerful forces that would try and divide us and try us to have us as Americans pointing fingers at each other.
Yes.
That this movement that is about reminding each other that we have so much more in common than what separates us is so critically important. And this is about the strength of who we are as Americans. And this movement that we're in about, as I like to say, seeing in the face of a stranger a neighbor.
Yes, yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes.
An extension of love thy neighbor, that you literally in the face of a stranger see a neighbor.
Yes.
And approach each other with that level of dignity and grace and kindness.
Well, that's exactly what happened with the Win with Black Women. I know you've known Joe Taker for many years.
Thank you, my
That's
dear.
exactly what happened.
She started it.
They had this big
started
call. They had the big
it's
call.
your fault.
They had the big call and then said, let's open the door.
Yeah.
Let's open the door and invite everybody else in, and everybody actually came.
Organically.
Yes.
Organically. Like, this is the beauty of our country. You know, there's so much at stake in this election. And ultimately, the question before us is, what kind of country do we want to live in? And the beauty of a democracy, as long as we can hold on to it, the beauty of a democracy is each of us has the power. Each of us has the power to answer that question.
That's right. Everybody on this call and beyond has the power. But can I just start with this?
Yes, please.
I have to say this because in all of my private conversations, Gail, and I've said this 100 times, and everybody is saying it, you all have said it, I know you have. It seems to us that something happened to you the moment Joe Biden, President Biden, stepped aside and withdrew his candidacy, that a veil or something dropped and you just stepped into your power? I mean, literally, looking at you at a speech like the week before, which was a great speech, very nice. And then the next week, I saw you walking in the thing. And I said, what happened to you?
You know, we each have those moments in our lives where it's time to step up.
Time to step up.
Time to step up, you know?
Well, the moment you heard, I mean, I really have been saying to people, it felt like a veil dropped and you sort of stepped through that veil. Did you feel like that?
I felt a sense of responsibility, to be honest with you. And with that comes a sense of purpose. But I mean, we're all here and you all are taking time out of your busy lives, everyone here, everyone on the screen, because there really is so much at stake. You know, I have spent the majority of my career being concerned about the well-being of other people.
Yeah.
As I've said, in my career as a prosecutor, I never looked at a victim or a witness and asked them, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay?
Are you okay? I know when I heard that.
You know?
Touch me.
And traveling this country and knowing what is at stake in terms of fundamental freedoms, what's at stake in terms of fighting against hate and those efforts to divide us. And I do know that I'm in a position to do something about it. So I felt a great responsibility. And the incredible power of the people, right? Who You know, I'm not the only leader in this. We're all leaders in this. This is so much bigger than me. It's about who we are as Americans. And it's about making clear what we stand for. And what we stand for is, it is about the ideals upon which we were founded, including the importance of freedom and the importance of independence and the importance of dignity and purpose. But it is also about what we stand for in terms of our values. I think of it this way.
I think a lot boils down to values. I just said values are on the line here.
It does. I mean, think about it, Oprah. The idea that some would suggest, and that my opponent suggests, which is that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down. Come on. The real measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. And it's important for us to articulate that.
You know, ever since the debate, we feel for our fellow citizens in Springfield. Do you not think about the fellow citizens in Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian families, the non-Haitian families, everybody having to deal with this lie that has endangered the lives of Haitian people and anybody who looks Haitian? Everybody in America feels for that. And everybody in America, left, right, middle, has concerns about immigration.
Yeah.
And I'm told that Justin, where are you in the audience? Justin.
Hello.
In our audience.
Hello, Madam Vice President.
You live in Michigan.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't love saying hello, Madam Vice President.
I do.
What's your question? It's an immigration question.
My question for you is, when you become president, what would be your specific steps? Yeah, of course. What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state. So this is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on. Okay. I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American people. Sadly, where we are now can be traced most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill. And here's what that border security bill would have done. It would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Let me tell you, those border agents are working around the clock. It would have just been about giving them some support and relief, which is probably why the border agents actually endorsed the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl. And I'm looking at people from all over the country here, so I don't need to tell the folks who are watching this what fentanyl has done to families, to kids in our country, and the need to take seriously stemming the flow coming into our country and addressing that extraordinary and tragic issue in terms of its effect. The bill would have allowed us to have more resources to prosecute transnational criminal organizations. And it would have been part of the solution. And Donald Trump called up those folks and said, don't put that bill on the floor for a vote. He blocked the bill, and you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And he has put his personal political security before border security. Because understand, even in the intervening months, what that bill would have done to give support to folks who care about this issue. And this again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs, because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely, and when I am elected President of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Listen to this. A majority of young Americans, 18 to 34, say that the cost of living is their top issue ahead of the election. Let's take a look.
Groceries are extremely expensive right now.
I don't understand how people are affording life right now.
For so many Americans, the high cost of living is their top concern this election.
Rach, we have $435 to last us till the end of the month. Okay?
What?
In Philadelphia, Rachel and Garrett say they have to watch every penny.
When I think of middle class, I think about people who are able to just get up and go and do things within their means and like not extravagant things, but be able to get up and go to dinner whenever they want, or maybe take that trip, that long weekend trip. We don't have that luxury.
By a long shot, her tax plan is phenomenal, no glaze.
Kamala Harris just delivered her new economic plan, and boy, oh boy, is it good for small business owners.
Holy shit, you guys. Kamala Harris is going to announce tomorrow a $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers.
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans.
Well, Rachel and Garrett are joining us on Zoom from Pennsylvania, and I understand your sister and brother-in-law moved in, and you're hoping to save money to have a second child?
That's right. Hi, Oprah. Hi, Madam Vice President. It's nice to be with you all.
Yes.
Hi.
And so, what did you want to say to the Vice President?
So, Madam Vice President, we are, like many, many young Americans, just experiencing a very high cost of living. We ended up giving up our apartment, moving in with our parents who were so gracious to take us in for over a year so that we could save money and ultimately buy a home, because that's what we thought the American dream was, to get married and buy a home and have a baby. And now here we are, and our mortgage is incredibly higher than what we thought it would be. And my sister and our brother-in-law are living with us right now so that they can hopefully one day do the same. And while it's beneficial for us because they help us pay off some of our mortgage, it's also beneficial for them because they can save on cheaper rent. But we really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries. So that's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging. Which is when, most companies and corporations are good, but for those bad ones, they take advantage of people, especially during a pandemic or extreme weather, and they end up jacking up prices, and there needs to be accountability and consequence for that. So I'm going to be taking on price gouging. But it's also about dealing with what we need to do around home ownership, right? So as someone mentioned during this film, look, I grew up a child of a mother who worked very hard. She raised me and my sister, and she saved up, and by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy a home. And we grew up actually for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center that was owned by the woman we called our second mother, because she helped my mother raise us. And she was a small business owner, Miss Shelton. So I'll bring all this together to tell you the way I think about it is, one, when people work hard and have a dream of buying a home, we should give you the opportunity to be able to do that, which is why part of my plan is for first-time homeowners, buyers, to have a $25,000 down payment assistance to buy your first home. Because people just need to be able to get their foot in the door, and then you'll do the hard work. Part of my plan is what we need to do to support small businesses, because my second mother was a small business owner, and I love our small businesses and our small business owners. They are not only business leaders, they are community leaders. They mentor, they hire locally, and we have so many entrepreneurs in our country who have great ideas, incredible work ethic, but not necessarily access to capital, because not everybody, like my opponent, was handed $400 million on a silver plate that he filed bankruptcy 6 times on. And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny business.
It's a concept of a business,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You know where I'm going.
That's right.
And
it's still on paper with the $5,000.
Right.
It's still on paper.
It just hasn't happened,
Right.
Part of to speak to you guys and your family and your dreams is what we need to do around giving middle-class families tax breaks. And so part of my plan is also to extend and expand the child tax credit to $6,000 so that you can, in the first year of your child's life, have the resources to be able to buy a crib and a car seat and clothes for your baby, knowing that's such an extraordinarily important time in their development, and you shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to take care of their basic needs. All of this and more is part of what I plan to build, and I call it an opportunity economy. And it's basically about creating opportunities, knowing so many people have the ambition, have the aspirations, are working hard, but just need opportunity to reach their goals and their dreams.
I saw you smiling with that $25,000 credit for the home. I saw that smile on your face and the $6,000. Thank you all so much. I want to just introduce to Shelby, who's also in our virtual audience. Thank you guys. Shelby from Virginia, who's also struggling with the cost of living. Tell us your story, Shelby. Why?
Hi, Madam Vice President. Hi, Oprah. I'm 24 years old. I'm a graduate student living with my parents, and I want to move out next year and potentially buy a home. And I'm concerned about the affordability of one with the extra costs and bills that I'm paying now, along with the bills and costs I will pay in the future too. And so everything just has a cost and everything is so expensive. And so I'm worried about my capacity and how I'm able to fully support myself once I do live independently.
You sound like one of my daughter girls from South Africa graduated. She was like, I hate adulting. I hate adulting. This adulting isn't going so well. Yes.
Well, so first of all, congratulations on all the success you've already achieved. And it is your story and the story of our friends before you is really, that's the American story, right? You are working hard, you have goals, you have ambitions. And so part of it is, again, the $25,000 down payment assistance. Part of it is what we need to do to also push back against a very different vision for our country. Because look, in this election, there are 2 very different visions for our country. One, for me, that is focused on the future, including you, and another that is focused on the past. What Donald Trump, what my opponent plans on doing for the economy is doing what he did the last time he was president and giving another tax break for billionaires and the biggest corporations that would add $5 trillion to our deficit. And get this, he plans on doing what I call a Trump sales tax, which is basically he's going to put a 20% tax on everyday necessities that economists have estimated will cost the average American $4,000 more a year, which is why Goldman Sachs, which is why Moody's, which is why Wharton School of Business, which is why 16 Nobel laureates have collectively determined, after analyzing our plans, 1, mine would strengthen the economy, his would weaken it. 2, that on his plan, he would actually blow up inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So when you think about the cost of living, my approach is about lifting you up. His would be about actually weakening our economy. And I feel very strongly when an individual, when a small business, when a family, when the middle class is strong, America is strong.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, Rachel and Garrett. So the Harris campaign kicked off the Fighting for Reproductive Freedom bus tour to support the fundamental right for women to make decisions about our own bodies. And here is a short tape on that.
I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
After Roe v. Wade was overturned, Tennessee put forth a ban immediately that banned all abortion with no exceptions.
Abortion bans are not pro-life. They are pro-poverty and pro-inequality.
It's been over 2 years since a 5-4 ruling by the Supreme Court ended Roe versus Wade, the landmark case that provided nearly 50 years of abortion rights across the United States. Since then, abortions have been banned in over a dozen states. Many women and doctors say the limits on reproductive rights have forced them into unimaginable situations.
These policies do not reflect evidence-based medical practice. They do not keep my patients safe.
According to the gender equity policy, women who live in states where abortion is banned are up to 3 times more likely to die during pregnancy, during childbirth, or soon after giving birth.
I nearly died all because of Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices overturning Roe v. Wade.
So for the millions of you who watched the Democratic National Convention, you will remember Hadley Duvall telling her incredibly powerful story. And in case you didn't see it, here's just a brief look.
Growing up, I was an all-American girl. Varsity soccer captain, cheerleading captain, homecoming queen, and survivor. I was raped by my stepfather after years of sexual abuse. At age 12, I took my first pregnancy test, and it was positive.
Hadley is here. Stand up, Hadley. I can tell you, we are all standing up because we are so impressed by your courage to stand up and share your story. Where did that come from, the strength to do this? Because I'm sure you thought long and hard before deciding to go public with your story.
When Roe v. Wade was overturned,
thanks everybody,
I woke up with a harsh reality of my abuse was over, but my story is not. And I just could not fathom thinking about the other Hadleys out there that don't have that choice, that don't have somebody to go to. So being able to find courage and be the light for them, that's really what I do it for.
And so what do you want to say to other people who are voting in this election regarding what happened to you and what that means?
You can't wait until it's too late to care about reproductive health care, because then it's too late. And when it affects you, it hits, and you can't deny it. You can't look at someone with a story like mine and say it didn't happen. And there are more people like me out there, and there are gonna be so many more who deserve their options. They deserve their choices. Let's get involved. We have someone who's willing to hear us at a level like never before. We have someone who wants to know what we want in this country. We have someone who wants to lift up our voice, and we need to show out and show up for her just like she's showing out and showing up for us.
All right. Is there something you wanted to say to Madam Vice President?
Madam Vice President, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for seeing us, for hearing us when the Supreme Court won't. Thank you for fighting and, you know, really showing us that life is not about the hard things that you go through. You don't bow down, even when you're the underdog, especially when you're the underdog.
That's right.
You stand up and you stand tall, and you give me so much hope and so much strength, and thank you.
Honestly.
Thank you, Hadley, for coming all this way. I hope you continue to use your voice. I hope you continue that. This week, the case of a young woman who lost her life after the abortion ban took place in Georgia made national headlines. Amber's case came to light through the reporting of journalist Kavitha Sarana with ProPublica. And so listen to her story. 2 years ago, 28-year-old Amber Nicole Thurman, a medical assistant and a single mother to a 6-year-old boy, found out she was pregnant. Amber had just secured her own apartment and was thinking about going to nursing school. She made the decision to terminate her pregnancy. A strict abortion ban had recently taken place in her home state of Georgia, which caused Amber to travel to North Carolina for the procedure. Traffic made her miss the appointment, so the clinic gave her medication, what are known as abortion pills. Once back home, Amber experienced profuse bleeding, vomiting, severe pain. She eventually passed out. Her boyfriend called for an ambulance. At the Georgia hospital, Amber's condition deteriorated quickly. In a rare occurrence, it was discovered her body had not expelled all the fetal tissue and an infection was spreading. Official Georgia State medical expert analysis of her case says Amber should have received a life-saving D&C, but doctors waited 20 hours before deciding to take her to surgery. Amber's blood pressure had taken a dive. Her organs had started failing. In the operating room, her heart stopped. On the way to surgery, Amber's last words to her mother were, "Promise me you'll take care of my son." Amber's mother, Shanette, and older sisters, CJ and Andrika, are here, and they wanted to be here tonight to speak out for the first time. Ms. Shanette, what do you want us to know about Amber's story?
Initially, I did not want the public to know my pain. I wanted to go through in silence. But I realized that it was selfish. I want y'all to know Amber was not a statistic. She was loved by a family, a strong family. And we would have done whatever to get my baby, our baby, the help that she needed. When ProPublica came to my home, I pushed them away. No, but Kavitha, she was persistent. She said, it was something that you needed to know. You have to hear me. Women around the world, people around the world need to know that this was preventable. 2 years later, after speaking with my daughters, because I lost strength, I lost hope, you're looking at a mother that is broken. Mm-hmm. The worst pain ever that a mother, that a parent could ever feel. Her father and myself and the family, you're looking at it.
Well, we appreciate so deeply you being here. And we're all watching you hear that tape and those words. We know how re-traumatizing that is and the strength it takes for you to be here to tell your story. And we deeply appreciate it. And I have to ask you, as her sisters, how are you coping? And what does knowing that this could have been prevented, how does that sit with you? How do you cope with that on a daily basis?
I mean, it's heartbreaking. You know, that was my baby sister. I loved my baby sister, you know. I'm beyond hurt, disappointed. I feel guilty. I wish I could have helped her, you know, because she was suffering. Mm-hmm. And we had no idea. We trusted them to take care of her, you know. Mm-hmm. And they just let her die because of some stupid abortion ban. They treated her like she was just another number. Mm-hmm. They didn't care for her as if, you know, she was their daughter or their, you know, granddaughter.
Yeah.
You know, and she's not here. She'll never come back.
Yeah. Andrika, what do you want to say?
I want to say that it's very disheartening
that my sister was allowed to suffer for 20 hours. She suffered. It was nothing that we could do to help her. We trusted the healthcare professionals to do their job and save her, but they failed her.
Well, I think the most powerful thing that you've said here, Ms. Jeanette, is that your daughter is not a statistic. She had a life. She was loved by her sisters, loved by her family, loved by those who knew her, and she's not just a statistic. And we are happy to speak her name tonight in this room, talking about what this country needs in terms of reproductive rights and freedom. What do you want to say, Madam Vice President?
I'm just so sorry. And the courage that you all have shown is extraordinary, because also you just learned about how it is that she died. And
they just recently learned, yes.
How?
Yeah.
And Amber's mom shared with me that the word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yeah.
Preventable. That word keeps coming to her.
Mm-hmm.
And this story is a story that is sadly not the only story of what has been happening since these bans have taken place. And, you know, so just to step back in terms of how we got here, the former president chose 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overdo the protections of Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
And they did as he intended, and in state after state, including yours, these abortion bans have been passed that criminalize healthcare providers. In a couple of states, prison for life, Oprah. Prison for life in a couple of states for a doctor or a nurse who provides health care. And so it seems very apparent
even when the mother's life is in danger.
But see, here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. So is she on death's door before you actually decide to give her help?
Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. That you've got to prove you're on death's door.
Like literally a doctor or a nurse has to say, she might die any minute, better give her now care. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise I might go to prison for life in some cases.
Mm.
Think about what we're doing in terms of saying that certain people who are in these state houses, and then starting with the former president of the United States, think they're in a better position than a doctor or a nurse to determine when their patient needs medical care. This literally, and Amber's story highlights the fact that among everything that is wrong with these bans and what has happened in terms of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it's a healthcare crisis. It's a healthcare crisis that affects the patient and the profession. And going back to Hadley's story, and Hadley, you've been so remarkable in telling your story and being so strong in the way you do it. And both of these stories really, I mean, the courage for it out of pain, for you to tell these stories to help other people is just extraordinary. And Hadley, you've been so remarkable. You know, Oprah, I don't know if you know this, but when I was in high school, I learned that my best friend was being molested by her stepfather.
Yes, we heard that story on the DNC.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
you had the courage then to go to her and say, you've got to come to our house.
And she came to stay with us. I called my mother, she came to stay with us. And the idea that these same legislators who would be saying, you know, criminalize healthcare providers are also saying that after a person's body has been violated, that they have no right to make a decision about what happens to their body next? That's immoral.
Yeah. I think it's not just immoral. But here's what I want to say. I just don't believe that those legislators, that the government has a right to be in your womb. They have no right to be in your womb with decisions about your womb.
And one does not have to abandon their faith.
Right.
Or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do.
Absolutely.
Right? If she chooses, she will talk with her priest, her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but not the government telling her what's in her best interest.
Well, this is a long healing process for this family. And we thank you, and we hope that by being amongst people who heard you and heard your daughter's story will be meaningful to you in this journey to healing. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I want to also... Thank you. I want to hear from Star Walker, who is a campaign engagement organizer in Milwaukee, one of my hometowns, Milwaukee. Hi, Star. What's going on in Wisconsin?
Hi, Oprah. Hi, Madam Vice President. We are fired up here in Wisconsin. I'm an engagement organizer, so I work with within their personal networks. As friends, family, teammates. Yeah, and by empowering people to leverage their relationships, we amplify their voices and deliver progress. We're fired up, but we also know it's a razor-thin race. So just like in 2020, this is going to be won by a field margin. It's on us to roll up our sleeves and do the work. Let's make phone calls and knock on doors. Go to go.kamalaharris.com to join this people-powered movement. That way, when we look back, we won't just be remembering how we felt, we'll be remembering what we did.
Woo! I love that. I love that. Y'all, I love that. That's a big takeaway, because we're all feeling really good right now, but what really matters is what are we gonna do? Absolutely. What are we gonna do? Thank you so much, Star. I see somebody else on the screen, Julia Roberts. Hi, Julia.
Hi. Hi.
I heard you were so excited you wanted to be here tonight. Why?
Well, first of all, Oprah, thank you for hosting this, because I guess if I started a voting club, it would be conversationalists for Kamala.
Yes.
Because to talk, to listen, to be heard, to have this back and forth is so unique in this campaign to beautiful, wonderful Kamala Harris, who I've had the good fortune of knowing for many years. And I am a mother of 2 kids. This is their first chance to vote in an election. And I couldn't be more excited for them to have the legacy to say that their first vote they ever cast for president was for you. I have just chills saying that out loud.
Are you all going to the polls together? Are you organizing a party? Are the Motors having a poll party? What's happening?
I wish we were all going together. In fact, they are in college, so we will be separated on the great day, but in spirit united always for what we believe in and what we, I feel like it's interesting. We talk so much about being Americans united for something, but this has become such a global representation of our country and what we stand for. And I get to travel internationally a lot. And I want people to say, oh, you're American? And not, oh, how's it going over there?
Yes.
So I want to get back to that space.
Exactly. Thank you, Julia. Exactly. Thank you. And hey, there's Tracy Ellis Ross coming up there. Tracy, now listen, if anybody should have a voting party, I think it should be at your house, because you have great parties, girl.
I just want to say hi, hello, Madam Vice President. It's just an honor. I actually have never met you, which is crazy. And hi, Oprah. Wait, what did I miss?
We just saw each other the other day. Okay. Oh, hi, Tracy. Hi.
Hi, Oprah. Hi, you doing?
Hi, good. Yeah. This is exciting, though, isn't it? Isn't it exciting?
It's exciting. It's exciting because I believe in democracy. I believe in the future of our country, in reproductive freedom, bodily autonomy, women leading. I believe in decency. The idea of leading with joy and kindness has always been in my DNA. And I'm here both for the seriousness of this election, but the joy with which it is being handled. It is stunning. And then I also really want to remind everybody, it hasn't been mentioned, but voting up and down the ballot is incredibly important. Your freedom and your daily life are all the way up and down that ballot. People are policies, and we need the right people in all areas, all positions. And then I would like to say to you two women, thank you for what you represent, because as a 52-year-old childless woman, I want to say to the people who think that a woman's worth is measured in her baby count, I mean, shout out to all the amazing mothers, but the childless women have been mothering the world and elevating culture as aunties, godmothers, teachers, mentors, sisters, and friends, and the list goes on. And you do not need to push out a baby to help push humanity forward.
Amen to that. Thank you so much, Tracy Ellis Ross. Thank you so much. So another important issue this election is, of course, our safety. And just 2 weeks ago, our country experienced yet another horrific school shooting. Watch this.
It's 10:30 a.m. at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. The school is recognizing my 10-year-old daughter, Lexi, for receiving all A's. 30 minutes later, a gunman murders her, 18 classmates and 2 teachers.
In the last 25 years, there have been 417 school shootings in the United States, and more than 383,000 students have experienced gun violence while at school.
More children and adolescents are killed by guns each year than anything else nationwide.
Just 2 weeks ago, Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, became the latest area to face every parent's worst nightmare.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air, the deadly high school shooting, 2 students and 2 teachers killed. Police and parents racing to the scene outside Atlanta.
Oh my goodness. There is a shooting at my granddaughter's school.
We had to drag our teacher's body into the classroom. We heard him take his last breath.
We live in a country where 383,000 children have been exposed to gun violence. Now just sit with that number for a second. It's a number until it's your child. This is not normal, y'all. This is not normal, and this is not right. Other people in other countries do not have this issue. We, Americans, we have to do better. We have to do better. We cannot continue to just settle for our thoughts and prayers. Lives are being destroyed. 15-year-old Natalie Griffith and her parents, Doug and Marilda, are here. And Natalie, we are so sorry to know that you too have been added to that number, because you were in algebra class when you were shot twice by a 14-year-old fellow student. We're so glad that you lived to tell your story. And so how are you tonight?
Well, before that thing, the video, I was very happy. I still am very happy to be here and to tell my story and what happened, because it was a terrible thing, and it should not have. What's it called?
Where were you shot? Where were you
I was
physically shot?
Right here on my shoulder, and then around here. Right wrist.
I was saying that 383,000 students in our country, the United States of America, have been exposed to violence that same scene that you experienced in your school? Had you all been having, drills or preparation for what should happen should there be a shooting?
I've had intruder drills and fire drills and stuff. In my old schools, we've had a fire drill at Appalachia, but it was the first 2 months of the school year. We hadn't had an intruder drill yet, so we weren't even completely sure where to go in the classroom. We all I remember being huddled.
So I was watching your mother, even just when that tape was coming on. It's still very much PTSD, very much traumatic. You're still reliving it. And how has it been for you? How were you notified that there was a shooting at the school?
I was notified by a friend. She called me, I was at work. And she called me and she said, "Do you know about the shooting?" With the school that she goes to, the Appalachia. I said, "No, I don't." And then she said there was a shooting at the Appalachia High School. My heart just dropped. My heart just got so heavy, and I could not stop. I had to leave. I told my coworkers, I gotta go, I have to leave. And my first thing I did is drop my knee on the floor and just start praying. I prayed for about 30 minutes from my work all the way to the school. I didn't get to the school on my car. I had to leave my car at a gas station about maybe 2.5, 3 miles. And I walked on foot and I ran because my heart was so heavy. I couldn't get in touch with my daughter.
And I hear you have a message for people in power regarding guns now.
I do. I want to finish that story because no parent should go through this. I want to just finish what, the experience. You do not know what feels until it's you.
Yes.
All those numbers that you show on the TV, a lot of people here are mothers. What are we doing about this? What are we doing? Let's make sure that everybody listens. Let's make sure that everybody hears it. The whole world needs to hear that we women that have our children, we have a job. That job is to protect our children. That job is to protect our nation. That job is to protect our country. We cannot leave. We cannot let that go on. We have to stop it. Where I was asking earlier, where are those people? All the shooting, where are they? They needed to make a noise. I'm ready to make a noise about this, and I'm ready to stop it. Because no one knows what feels when you can't find your child, when you call her and you call her, she's not answering. And when I went through it, it's just me that knows it. And I'm so sorry for those that lost, the child actually died. I can actually hug my child. My child is here, and I gave all this praise to the Lord. Our Father in heaven saved my child. But the other two mothers, they lost their kids, and the other teachers that died. Those people are suffering like I'm suffering. I'm very sorry for them. I'm very sorry that they lost their loved ones.
And you have a message for the people in power.
Yes, the people in power. Let's make it a change. Let's make it happen. Let's let's just not hear about this. Who wants to just hear about this? We gotta change it. We gotta make it happen.
And Doug, I hear you're not a registered Democrat, but you now say it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on when it comes to this issue. What change do you want to see now that it has affected your family?
Common sense, I think the first step would just be metal detectors in schools, make a budget, make a plan. And the people that say, well, we've never really done stuff like that before, I don't care. They didn't have metal detectors at airports at one time. They didn't have metal detectors at courthouses. I think that if a child knew that he would get caught, the likelihood of him trying would be, there may be another target, but it wouldn't be us having to worry about schools being hardened.
Yeah. I think that Doug has said it so eloquently, which is we just need to apply common sense. And look, I think for far too long on the issue of gun violence, some people have been pushing a really false choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. And these are just common sense. These are just common sense.
I thought it was so powerful at the convention when you said you have guns. No, at the debate. At the debate,
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If
And I thought
somebody
that was
breaks in
powerful.
my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
But you have been a gun owner for a while.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
But here's my point, Oprah, is that I'm not trying to take everyone's guns away. I believe in the Second Amendment, but we have to agree that, look, I did last fall a college tour with college-age young people, so I also did trade schools. And packed audience every time in their auditorium, and I would ask, please raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. Almost every hand went up. It was bone-chilling.
Yeah, this is the way our kids are living. Yeah.
And think about it. You know, I grew up, we had fire drills only. Well, I grew up in California, we also had earthquake drills, but the fact that our children are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential and exploring the wonders of the world, and some part of their brain realizes somebody could bust through that classroom door with a weapon, with an assault weapon. And let's all agree that the trauma, so many children, even those who have not directly experienced the tragedy.
Just being in the environment. Being in the environment.
I cannot tell you the number of young people who, I mean, our kids had active shooter drills. They're concerned that there might be somebody who would kill them while they are at school. This is not the sign of a civil society, and it doesn't have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. But we need to have the courage to act. I mean, look, my opponent, when he was told and knew about a shooting of a young girl, you know what he said? Get over it. Get over it. No, we're not getting over it. No, and to the point, everyone should have a sense of collective responsibility for the children of our community.
Yes.
And understand their right to live and be safe. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I know, I've seen autopsies. I've seen what these weapons do to the human body. And we've got to agree that, in particular when we're talking about something like an assault weapon, it's literally designed to be a tool of war. It has no place on the streets of a civil society. It's designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. And there are things we can do. I mean, thankfully, over the last 3 years, we've done some, but it is common sense.
It just seems like common sense we would see this.
I think
and
so.
I think that the majority of Americans agree with you that we do not want assault weapons in the hands of children and other people who have no business with those types of weapons.
Right.
We know this is true. So we thank you, Natalie, and your family for being here. And good luck in that marching band this year. I hear you're going to go out for the marching band still.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it's a sad moment for us, but I wanted to make sure that, we came because we needed to be heard. And we needed to, change has to be made, and we're ready to fight for this.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we want to hear what's going on in another battleground state. Tracy is a regional organizing director in Nevada. Tracy, tell us how things are going for you. Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Lee, a regional organizing director in Nevada. I am the Silver State this year because there's so much on the line. From healthcare to lowering costs, these issues impact all of us. My team and I have been building relationships with voters across this state because here in Nevada, we know that enthusiasm alone does not win campaigns. Organizing does. So all of you watching tonight can become organizers, whether you talk to your sister, a roommate, or a grandparent about why you're so excited to vote for Vice President Harris. You are organizing and energizing other supporters. So please go to go.kamalaharris.com to find ways to help and enjoy the rest of tonight's event, and let's get to work.
Let's get to work. Let's do something. Meryl Streep, hello. You and I. Hi, Meryl Streep. You and I have talked about this moment.
Hi.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling about the momentum?
Oh, man. This has been overwhelming to have the privilege to sit in and listen to the testimony of the people here. Hello, President Harris.
Not yet. "47 days.
47 days, yes.
From my mouth to God's ear. And hello, Oprah. I think the word of the day has been preventable. Preventable. All of this. The surround of hatred and venom and toxicity and encouraging some segment of Americans to hate other segment of Americans. It's just crazy, and nobody wants it. We're done.
That's right.
We're done with it. I wanted to ask you, I can't believe I have this opportunity. I probably never will again. If I have a little Debbie Downer moment, because actually, I think you're going to win. I'm sure you're going to win. But what happens when you win and he doesn't accept it? And you know that there's going to be this long slog of shenanigans. And I'm wondering how we get to that moment, how we preserve certification on January 6th. Because if it doesn't happen, it'll be maybe thrown back to the legislatures of the states. And I've been working with state government citizens campaign, which is sgcamerica.com. So they're great. They're doing the unglamorous down ballot work of promoting those candidates, because I'm worried about it, and I wonder if we're ready for January 7th, 8th, 9th, and what happens? What happens?
So we will be ready, but just taking a step back, and thank you, Marilyn, for the gift that you give, your talent, your creativity. Thank you for being here. One of the things that I have realized in the course of our campaign is that more Americans than we may realize who voted for Trump before have decided January 6th was just a bridge too far. When we reflect and think about what January 6th was, where the President of the United States, sitting in the Oval Office, incited a mob, a violent mob, to attack the United States Capitol, such that 140 law enforcement officers were injured, some were killed. To try and upend a free and fair election where the American people voted, that was a bridge too far for a lot of people. And we have sadly now seen how far he could go. And I think there is absolutely no tolerance whatsoever for the vast majority of Americans for that. And they've seen the lies. They understand, for example, almost every court case, I think every court case where he's challenged an election, he lost. I said on the debate stage, look, because he's having a very difficult time, obviously, processing the fact that 81 million people fired him, right? But, so there is that it really was a bridge too far for so many people that they are not willing to repeat. But the other piece of it is the lawyers are working. It's very important that we all speak to our friends and our neighbors about misinformation and help them now see how it occurs, where it is occurring. It is important that we stand up for the integrity of poll workers and people who are working on election day. And that we also, and this is critically important, that we ask people to be alert about mis and disinformation, and we ask them, do not be afraid to vote. Because I think there is also something quite insidious about these attacks on the electorate in these various forms that are intended to convince people that their vote won't matter. And in that way, there's a little bit of reverse psychology going on here, and let's just make sure nobody falls for it. Your vote does matter, and we cannot let anyone ever take our power from us. We can never let anybody silence us. And when we get those votes out, starting soon, early voting is already going to start this week, I think, through November 5th, and let's make sure everyone votes, and we are going to have a good election day. We're going to fight for the integrity of the people's voice and for our democracy. And, you know, I'll just mention earlier, a couple of folks talked about what this means in terms of the world. You know, as vice president, I've met over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. And the thing about representing the United States of America is when we walk in those rooms around the world, we have historically and traditionally been able to walk in those rooms, chin up, shoulders back, with the self-appointed and earned authority to talk about the importance of democracies. People around the world are watching right now. Because you see, the thing about walking into a room and being a role model is people watch what you do to see if it lines up with what you say. And in that way, the consequences of this election are directly going to impact the American people and people around the world. That's what we're fighting for, and those are the stakes. And that's why we're going to win, because we know what we're fighting for, because we know what we stand for.
Thank you, Meryl. So, thank you, Meryl. What is on your heart to say to the American people as we have 47 days until November 5th? What's on your heart? To say to particularly those people who are still undecided, or maybe indifferent, or on the fence still?
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be. And that's who we are. We believe in all that. And so this is a moment where we stand knowing what we are fighting for. We're not fighting against. It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you. And I want to say, thank you, Madam Vice President. I also want to say, thank you, Joe Taker. Thank you, Joe Taker. Who started the gatherings on Zoom and all of the grassroots. Now, each of you listening tonight, you become your own grassroots organization to go forward and do something, coming together for the largest Zoom call we've all ever had. Thank you so much. And I just want to say, for all of you watching who are still on the fence, you're in the middle, you're independent, as I am, or whether you're just still don't know what you're gonna do. This is the moment for all decent people, all caring people who want the best for yourself and you want the best for other people. This is the moment for people who are tired of all of the bickering and all of the name calling, people who are exhausted by the craziness and the made up stories and the conspiracies. This is the moment. You want to get on with your life because you know that we can do better and that we deserve better. You know this. I know you know this. I know you feel this. I know this is what you're saying amongst yourselves. It's in all the conversations that we're having, that you're having. And we're better than this. We're better. We're better. And we want to create a world where our children will be safe in school again. And as my friend and mentor Maya Angelou always said, when you know better, you got to do better. Thank you. So let's do better and vote for Kamala Harris. Thank you to all of our special guests. Thank you for sharing your stories, for being here, Ms. Shanat. Vice President Harris, we thank you. We hope you keep fighting for us and the country we deserve to have. Thank you so much. Thank you. To find out more about how you can register or where you can vote, go to iwillvote.com. Good night, everybody. Thank you on Zoom. Thank you.
I'ma keep on running, cause the winner don't quit on themselves. Telling these tears going fall away, oh, may the last one burn into flame.